Hey guys, welcome to my Etsy channel. This is Nancy from nancypatillo.com and welcome to another Etsy video. On today's video, I'm going to talk about 25 things I wish I knew when I started selling products on digital products on Etsy. And these are tips that I have learned throughout the course of my last 3 years and selling over 15,000 sales. Um, so it's not to discourage you, but just to kind of give you some tips on things that you could do, things that you could expect that happens, and so you could learn. So guys, if this is your first time visiting my Etsy channel and you're thinking of becoming an Etsy seller, or maybe you are already an Etsy seller, don't forget to subscribe to my channel today. I do upload weekly videos to help you build a thriving online business. So let's go ahead and get started on this video. So tip number one, it would be that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So if you've been thinking of opening an Etsy shop and you're not really sure how to start, just start. Don't overthink it. I also will leave a link below this video. And if you open an Etsy shop with that link, you get 40 free listings, and I get 40 free listings as well for referring that link to you. But that's a cool way to kind of like an incentive for you to just go ahead and start. And your first 20 listings, your first 40 listings, you don't pay anything for. So make sure that you go ahead and click below to get that link. But just keep that in mind. You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. So that would be tip number one. Don't overthink it. Tip number two is treat it like a real business. So when I first started my Etsy, I didn't have a logo. I didn't fill out my About Me section. I didn't have a banner. So it didn't look like a complete store. And once I started like understanding how Etsy worked and how handmade business worked, what I started noticing is that on Etsy, people want to know who you are. People want to read your back end story. How did you get started? Why you're passionate about making your handmade items. People want to know. It's not like Amazon. I'm used to selling on Amazon or eBay or other places that people don't make that connection. They don't care. But with Etsy, because everything is handmade, crafted, and personalized, people do care, which is actually a good thing. So therefore, that was like one of the biggest mistakes I made in the beginning, was not take my time to write a about me section, not take my time to upload a profile picture, not take the time to either create my own banner or pay for someone else to make my banner, but treat it like a real business. Just because you're not putting 50,000 down, just because you're not taking a loan out, just because you're not doing these big investments that normally a store like a physical store would do, or you're not taking permits, etc. Just because you're not doing those things doesn't mean that Etsy is not a real business. It actually is. There's a lot of people that this is their full-time job. There's a lot of people out there that this is how they support their family. So treat it like a real business. That's tip number two. Tip number three is a lot of work in the beginning. I hear so many people, oh, I've been, on Etsy for a month. I think I'm going to quit because I haven't made any sales. It doesn't work that way. You have to pay your dues. You have to, start understanding how Etsy works, how the algorithm works. You have to understand, SEO if you've never done that before, if you never sold online, how to market yourself, how to brand yourself. You have to, open social media platforms, whether you're going to do a Facebook group, if you're going to do a Facebook page, whether you're going to stick with just Instagram and Pinterest. It's just a lot in the beginning, and a lot of people get overwhelmed because of all the work. So they don't complete it all, or they just like do whatever they think that they could do, but they don't, one, like I said before, treat it like a business, and two, they get so overwhelmed with so many things that at the end of the day, the shop fails because they just give up. So keep in mind that when you open your Etsy shop, especially in the beginning, it is going to be a lot of work because you have to do a lot of different things. You have to, connect your store to analytics. You have to get a banner. You have to maybe, get a new headshot of yourself because you haven't taken a picture of yourself that's professional. You have to, craft listing descriptions and learn how to sell, your product, have to have your own voice in your writing. It's just a lot of things, but it is normal. So don't get overwhelmed with it, okay? Tip number 4 is hire an accountant and start bookkeeping. I think this is like the biggest one for a lot of people is that they feel like, well, I don't make enough money, so I'm not gonna pay taxes, or I don't know what I'm doing. This is too complicated. Taxes are really hard, and they get scared like everyone else does. I did the same, and then a year later, when you do file taxes, you owe money, and you don't want that. So if you hire an accountant, it's not as expensive as you might think. Um, and you could hire an accountant from your city. They could tell you what taxes you're going to have to pay. They could help you understand rules and regulations of selling. They're going to help you with different laws and taxes for different states, etc. How to hold taxes so you could pay and how Etsy works. But this is important. And also bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is really, really important. I recommend QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks. I'll leave a link below, and you get 6 months, 50% off. And with QuickBooks, it's already an automated system approved by Etsy. So it's already installed in your dashboard. You connect your store, and it starts collecting all your receipts and putting them in there. And then all you have to do is add additional receipts. So bookkeeping, anything you buy for your business, printer, telephone, gas, stamps, anything you pretty much paid for your business to go ahead and have your business running, you keep a receipt of that. That way you could write it out for your taxes. But the accountant will be able to give you a list of all the things that you could write off. So it's really, really important to do that from day one, regardless if you made $1,000 a year or you made 25,000. It doesn't matter. It's really, really important. Do not make the mistake of waiting until you start making money, because then you really don't know what to do. If you do it from the beginning, you kind of train yourself every month to pay quarterly taxes. You train yourself on how to keep track of your receipts. You train yourself how to organize it. So by the time you do start making a lot of money and you grow your store, you're not going to be so overwhelmed with that additional project now. And you could focus on your orders and your customers, etc., and creating new products. So hire an accountant and start bookkeeping. Tip number 5 is forget about the to-do list. No to-do lists. I think that to-do lists are kind of dangerous. I used to do a to-do list, and I used to put 50 things to do. I used to put, okay, I'm going to post on Pinterest. I'm going to post on Instagram. I'm going to post on, let's say, LinkedIn. I'm going to add 5 listings. I'm going to write an article. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'll do a whole list of things that I'm going to do. I'm going to research keywords. And then let's say out of the 20 lists, out of the 20 items, I did 15. I felt like I didn't do anything. I felt like, I don't have enough time. I didn't get to complete my whole list. And what happens is that when you do that, you get 1, overwhelmed. 2, you overwork yourself. And 3, you start thinking that you didn't do a lot. In reality, you did more than the average person. So what I do now is I focus on one thing per day. So maybe today I just want to work on improving my tags. So I go back to my Etsy shop. I see which listings are not performing. I do research for new tags and I change the tags. Maybe one day I want to focus on product photography. What listings am I not getting any clicks on? Let me fix the photos on those to see if that will improve the click-through rate. Maybe one day I want to work on Pinterest, right? Marketing myself there, creating new pins for my products, etc. Maybe one day I want to do affiliate marketing. But you have to kind of separate it, because if you want to do like maybe multiple things, like you finish one and then move to the next one and do like two or three, that's fine. Just don't do this massive list and then you do like half or 70% of it and then you feel like, oh, I didn't do enough. And it's just really going to overwhelm you and overwork you, and you don't want that. So just forget about the to-do list and just focus on one thing at a time. I think that's the best solution for everyone that has a small business, because if not, you'll drive yourself crazy. What I do now is I do a massive list for the whole month. And if I don't complete it, I don't say, oh my God, I didn't complete it. I just do a massive list. I sit down, I think about the most important things I need to do. And I stop doing the things that really don't matter. So I just focus on the most important things. And then as I do one or two of them, I go and scratch them off. And whatever I don't complete this month, I do it for them next month. But the reason why I write them down still is for the purpose of me not forgetting. And two, when you see a goal written down, you end up doing it more than when you just think about it. But do not focus on the overall, like, I have to do 50 things today. That's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is learn to say no. And this was really hard for me in the beginning because I didn't want to lose any sales. So if somebody emailed me and said, hey, I love your designs, um, I want to do A, B, C, and D. I need 5 reception signs, and I need like a table chart for, or a sitting guest chart for my guests, and I need this and I need that, and this is a color, and I saw this from this other store, and I saw this color scheme from this invite. Can you create all this? If you know that one, this person is already difficult, two, their ideas are all over the place. Like they showed you 5 different designs and they want you to make one design out of those 5 different designs. And three, if you know you're tired, maybe the next day is your day off, it's a Sunday and you want to spend it with your family. Maybe you've been working like crazy and you just want to focus on adding new listings or creating other stuff. Learn to say no. I used to say yes to every single request. And what I learned, it drove me crazy, especially the ones that people didn't know what they wanted and they're sending me items from other stores, which I never understood. Why don't you just buy it from them if you like it? And they will come to me and then I will make the design and they're like, no, I don't like that. And then I'll make it this way. And I'm like, they have to like it this way because it matches kind of like the same thing. No, I don't want that. And then, 20 hours later and you still haven't completed the design and you have a headache and you're tired and you didn't make time for anything else. So learn to say no. Tip number 7, charge more for personalized items. So I sell digital products in events, party, weddings, birthdays, etc. So a lot of times I have signs that says, welcome to Nancy and John's wedding. But there are people that might be like, well, I want it customized. I want to change. I wanted to say, welcome to our special day, Nancy, John. And then on the bottom, I want to put, thank you for your support. I used to be the type of person also that I would be like, oh, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and order the sign and leave me the exact verbatim that you want, and I will make it for you. So I wouldn't charge them extra for changing the wording. I would just say, just go ahead and order. They will pick the size that they want. And then I will make the sign based on what they wanted. And then, 5 proofs later, they're still changing it. Oh, you know what? I thought about it. I don't like this wording. Let's try this. But you know what? I saw this from another store. Can we try this? And then finally at the end, well, you know what? I'm going to just stick with what you had originally. So do yourself the favor of knowing that your time is valuable. So do if you're gonna charge for more, um, make sure that you do 2 things. One, you let them know, I'm sure I'll be more than happy to create a custom order for you and change the verbatim. let me send you a custom order link. And then send them a custom order link and charge. I charge for custom orders $5 to $10 more. It depends on what they want, especially if they start changing the background color and the font color, and now they want a different font and all this extra stuff. But depending on what they want, I charge $5 to $10, and I give them 3 rounds of proofs. You want to set those limits right away, because if you don't, they'll keep you for hours. Oh, I want to change it this way. You know what? I like it how you had it before. Or you know what? I saw this sign in your store. I rather have it this way. So just to save you the headache, one, make sure that you value your time. Two, charge more for personalized items. And three, set some type of, after 3 proofs, I have to charge you $5 additional if you want additional changes, etc. Just make sure that you say that prior, before they buy from you. But make sure that you value your time. Number 8, transparent listing description. And what I mean by this is, it's not that as a seller you're not transparent, or you're not giving out information, but when you sell digital products that the person is not getting a tangible item through the mail, it's very, very important that you have that listed in your listing description. Make sure that you have listed, how to order, what they're receiving, how they're going to receive their files, whether it's through email, whether it's to a Google Dropbox link, whether it's a zip file. Make sure that you include in there the props and like frames or props that you use for your pictures are not included, because for some reason people think that they're going to receive a frame, an easel, and a sign just for $14, which is crazy, but they think that. So make sure that you include that in your listing description. Be as transparent as you can be. Your listing description should include anything and everything the customer should know about their listing. I know that Etsy doesn't want you to create a massive listing description. I really could care less. My listing description is pretty long, but I like it that way because I have all the information there. You cannot say, "Oh, well, you didn't, you just added that today," or "I never knew that," or "I never read that." If they didn't read it, they didn't read it, but it was there. So make sure that you're very transparent with your listing description. This goes with the listing description. Number 9, people don't read. Unfortunately, people don't read. I get so many emails, and this is something that in the beginning it's like not too bad, of a deal, and after over time you just start saying, "Oh my God," you start noticing, that people don't read. So you're gonna get messages like you might have in your listing description everything that they need to know about that particular order, and they're still gonna ask you, how much does what does it come included with? Is the frame included? Or if I order today, can I get it by next week? Because they never read anything. They don't know it's a digital product, or they don't know that the frame doesn't come included. People don't read. It's something that you're gonna have to get used to, whether you sell digital products or you sell handmade items that you're gonna. I mean, not handmade items, but things that you're going to send out to them. It doesn't matter what you sell on Etsy. Majority of people will tell you and contest that people don't read. And it's just something that, this is why having your listing description filled out correctly and being transparent comes hand in hand. That way, later on, if they buy from you, they can't say, "Well, that wasn't, I wasn't told." Yes, it was. It's just you didn't read it. So that's tip number 9. And this goes hand in hand with the other two, open cases. So I can't speak for stores that sell like regular products, right? However, based on the stories that I read on my Etsy seller support group, and I'll leave the link below if you want to join, a lot of people complain about people not reading, not understanding what they're buying, and then they open cases against the shops. One thing I have noticed, especially on my oldest store, my reviews are 4.5. If you go to every single review that I have, it's never been because I'm rude. It's never been because I didn't complete an order. It's always the same thing. I didn't know this was a digital product. I would have never bought it. It's too expensive for being a digital product. I could have done this myself. So keep that in mind. It doesn't matter whether you sell digital products like for weddings, birthday events, parties, signs, invites. Maybe you do calendars. Maybe you do planners. People, unfortunately, don't read. They buy the product, you make the product, you complete the product, you email them the product, and then they get upset. I get a lot of people that buy the product from me, and like 3 weeks later, I didn't get this product. And then I go back and I'm like, didn't you see my previous email? I sent a massive email. Like when I send my products, I always say, thanks for your digital order. I have completed your digital order. Please see screenshot below for proof of sent. And then I do a massive thing like make sure you download on a computer. I talk about Google Drive. I talk about everything they need to know to manage that order, how to download it, how to take it to the printers, etc. I mean, I just go over the top with it. That way there's no misunderstanding. But they didn't read my message at all. So all I get is messages from people asking me, when am I going to receive this item? And I just sit there like, you're not, because it's a digital download. So then as soon as I say that and, I address their comments, they're quick to go ahead and open a case against my store. At the current moment, I got 2 cases on one of my newer stores. And on my older store, I have had in 3 years, I think I have had about 16, if I'm not mistaken. Now, open cases, when I first got my first one, I almost had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, my store is going to be closed. Should I just give a refund? Because I felt like it, Etsy kept saying, oh, if you give a refund, we'll close out the order. So I was like, should I just go ahead and give a refund? I freaked out. Do not freak out. If you have everything listed in the listing description, if you were transparent, you didn't hide any information, Etsy will protect you as a seller. Just make sure that whenever they open a case, you provide a screenshot of everything. Make sure you include all the conversations. Make sure you include detail by detail everything that happened. That's what I do. As long as you do that, they take forever. It'll be like a month later. The customer never responds half of the time. So you're the only one talking back and forth with the Etsy representative. The buyer disappears half of the time. They don't even respond back. So a lot of times the case gets closed because the buyer never says anything, or they don't escalate it to the next level. However, if you have everything and you were transparent and you did everything correctly, do not freak out. Your store will not be closed. Now, if you're shady and you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, then yes, your store will be closed. But if you're not, then don't worry about them. They do happen, unfortunately, but it's just the way that, it's just the game of it, I guess. It's just people get upset and that's the first thing that they do. Or the first thing that they do is leave you a bad review. So just keep that in mind. Do not freak out if you get an open case. Number 11, reviews. So reviews is another thing that a lot of Etsy sellers, always ask for. Like, how can I get reviews? No one's leaving me a review. So keep in mind, I think I did a video prior, like a while back, saying, oh, I offer a free print if somebody leaves me a review. Do not do that. I didn't know when I was doing that that's called extortion and it's against Etsy rules. So you're not supposed to give a free product, good, or service in return of a review. So you could ask for reviews. I know a lot of people think it's not right and it's kind of like I forgot that word, but taboo or taboo, I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of like, oh, why would you ask for a review? I don't care. I always ask for a review because A lot of times people forget to give you a review. Maybe they wanted to, and then other people just want to give you a review whenever, they feel like, if they feel like they didn't like their service, or in my scenario, they didn't realize they bought a digital product. Now they want to leave me a bad review. So I personally think that you asking for a review is not bad at all to do that. um it's better to ask than not to ask. That's my take on it. The worst that's gonna happen is that they won't leave you a review. I mean, that's it. Now, also for reviews, just keep in mind that one of my shops, I have almost 4,000 sales, and I only gotten like 300 reviews. That's very, very low. And that's because a lot of people don't leave reviews. So don't expect to have like 70 sales and like 20 reviews. That's never going to happen unless you just got lucky and you got people leaving your reviews. But just keep in mind that your reviews are always going to be lesser than your sales, and it's always going to be a big gap. So don't think that it's just you. Just, the best way to get reviews are to kill them with kindness, provide excellent customer service, go above and beyond, make your store shine, make your store the best store they ever shopped at, and hopefully with just those little things, they'll be compelled enough to say, "Oh my God, this is the best store," or "This is the best customer service. I want to go ahead and leave a review." So just kind of do stuff like that. Number 12, provide proof of sent. So this is for people that sell digital products. So when you sell a digital product, I sell like signs, like wedding signs. When I'm done with the order, what I normally do is I email the customer the files. Now, what I do is I email them the file, and then once I sent the file and it's like sent, I open the sent file on my email, and I take a screenshot. I take a screenshot of my name, their email, the date, and then I take a screenshot of the attachment. The reason why I do that is because I have learned the hard way that a lot of people will email you back and say, "Oh, you never sent me the file. I want a refund." And that's because the only reason why they want a refund is because they realize they bought a digital product and not an actual product. So, well, it is still a product, but not an actual tangible product that they're going to receive. They're upset about making the wrong decision, I guess, that they didn't want that because they want something printed to them. So now they, in my opinion, some people fabricate that they never receive it. Now, other people, maybe they didn't receive it because the email can go to the spam folder, but it's really important for you to keep track of what you send to customers. So what I do is I take a screenshot and then I go back to Etsy and I message the customer through Etsy only. And I put, "Hey, I completed your order. Please see screenshot below of proof of send." And then I put my massive message in there that I have copy and paste. And then I send that to them. So that way, if later on, whatever reason, I have another, lucky me, another case open against my shop, I have all the proofs already. I have the screenshot that I would send it to them. If I resend the file, I do another screenshot. Every time I resend a file to a customer, I always do a screenshot for their proof, for my proof, and to keep it in record. So it's really important to start keeping track of stuff like that. Number 13, keep all conversations on Etsy. So if you decide that you're going to start emailing the file to customers, so if I do a large poster, I can't send it through Etsy conversation because there's a threshold of how many megabytes you could add. So when it's a custom order that I have to put the names and the wording, etc., I have to email them the file. What I always do is when I email the file, I always put on the body of the email, I always put, "If you have any questions, please contact me on Etsy only. Do not reply back to this email because sometimes it goes to spam." I like doing that because I made the mistake in the beginning that people will message me back on the email and say, "What is this that I'm receiving?" And then I go back and say, "Well, you're receiving your files." And then later on, when I had a case open against me, I couldn't remember, did I talk to this person? And then I will have to go back to my old email and find that conversation. Did I delete it already because I needed more space? what's going on. I can't like keep track of it. So what I do now is that I keep all conversations on Xe. If they respond to me on the email, I respond back and say, "Hey, um, respond to me on Xe only," and I just let them know. And they usually go back on Xe, and we keep the conversation there. But make sure you do that only because for your sanity, and then later on you know what was talked about and you don't have to go back to your email. It's just too much of a hassle. So keep all conversations, and also Xe wants you to keep all conversations on Xe as well. So just keep that there, and that way they could check in the future if there's a case against you. They could also check the conversations. They have the right to do that. So that's why they want it there. Number 14, buy a memory drive or drive. I mean, the first time I started my digital goods or digital products, I didn't have a drive. So I was saving all my files on my computer. My computer started acting funny, slow. I couldn't open files. I had like 500 products. It was just horrible. So the best thing I could have done is buy a drive. I bought a drive that doesn't need to be charged. There are drives that you have to manually plug in an outlet. The one that I bought is a little file, it's a little drive. I don't have to plug it in an outlet. I just plug it to my computer and it automatically turns on. I love it. The reason why is because if I'm in the office or if I want to go to the doctor's appointment or if I want to go to the park, I could just take my computer, my drive with me and work. The one I have at home, which is a little bit bigger, that one requires an outlet. So therefore, I can't take that one with me unless I know I'm gonna go to like Panera or somewhere that I could plug it. Plus, it weighs like 15 pounds. Well, not 15, but it feels like 15 pounds. But the other one is very small, compact. I could take it with me to go. I could take it with me on vacation. I used it on the airplane. So it's just really, really nice because I could just store my files, take them with me, and it still has a lot of memory and it doesn't drain down my battery or my computer. So buy a memory drive. Number 15. This is very important. This is one that I still struggle with. Um, for me, it's more of the eating and not working out. But before, it was just everything. So, what I mean by work life balance is learn to turn off Xe or turn off any business you have additional to Xe. I remember, be 10 o'clock at night and I get a Xe message from someone. Oh, do you think you could make a custom sign? And I want to get that order so bad. So I'm responding to that message. And then when I look over, it's already 10:45. I've been talking to this person for 40 minutes. They have not bought anything from me. And now I wake up in the morning tired and not motivated to get up to go to work and just had a rough night. And my husband's like, really, you're gonna like message someone? And then I'm getting off out of the bed to go to the computer to send them a custom order or to send them something that maybe they purchase and they can't download. Just learn how to turn it off. There's a lady that she's a motivational speaker. Her name is Mel Robbins, and she has a it's called the Millionaire Morning, and she came up with this idea of when you wake up in the morning, do not look at your phone. The first 2 hours are the most productive time for yourself. So the first 2 hours in your morning should be you writing, journaling, maybe working out, maybe doing something that you've been wanting to do. Maybe you want to do, your About Me for Xe and you haven't written it yet. Maybe you want to write a new listing description. That's the time you do it. You could do that, but you want to make sure you unplug yourself from the computer. Do not check the main email. Do not check Xe messages. It will ruin your day. I used to wake up and the first thing I did, check my Xe, and I would just like want to pull my hair. Because I get people like, oh, I never got my order. I want a refund, or I ordered this and I can't open it, or I ordered this file and it's not working. Can you help? And then you get, like it's the first thing you're looking at is complaining. People complaining or people that can't do, they don't understand it or whatever it is. And then you get so absorbed trying to help, trying to, email those people back. When you look up, you haven't ate breakfast yet, you haven't even said good morning to your kids or your husband, and you're like stressed out already. And that's I learned that the hard way. I used to stay up and text people, yeah, I could do that for you, and get up and do a quick order. Oh, you need it right now? Yeah, I'll do it right now. And it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I was supposed to be in bed by 9:30 because I got to get up at 4 in the morning. Do not do that to yourself. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's not good for your family. It's not good for your loved ones. It's okay to hustle. I always been a hustler. I've been hustling since 2009. I've been in this game, and one thing that I wish I did back in the day was understand that it is okay to reply to an email the next day. It is okay to tell somebody, you know what, I can't take that extra work right now. I'm like, really, really busy. It is okay to take a day off and not feel guilty. It's okay to say, I'm working on my dreams, but I work a full-time job. I'm a full-time mom. I'm a full-time wife. I have a side hustle. It is okay to say, what, I'm going to take this day and just spend it with my family and just let it be. And set standards for yourself. If your XC hours are 8 to 5, then don't respond after 5. People people will understand more than what you think. Like, people understand that there is, you have a life, and XC is not your life 24/7, right? Even though it was for me at one point. But people, could wait for your message the next day. Um, as long as you don't pass like 3 days without answering someone's message. But if you answer someone's message within 24 hours or maybe 12 hours later, I don't think it's a big deal. Just learn to have a balanced life. I recommend looking up Mel Robbins. Millionaire Mornings is an incredible thing to do. Her formula of getting up and being more productive and turning off your phone. And I don't even use my phone now as a alarm. I used to use my phone as an alarm, and then from there I would like start browsing through the internet and checking my Facebook and checking my emails and checking XC and over compulsive with it. And I learned that now I gotta like unplug. It's very important to unplug and have sanity and sit there and do your journal or start your workout. Start doing something that you've been wanting to do that you're not doing. That is going to be productive, that's going to be beneficial for yourself, and that is going to take you to the next level. You have to be healthy and you have to be the best version of yourself if you are going to be successful with any type of business. Oops. So the next one is close out orders. So you'll start noticing this, or maybe you already noticed this. As a handmade business, as a digital product business as well, what I normally do is that if you buy a personalized item that just requires for me to enter the name and date, I don't give you a proof. So if it says, welcome to Nancy and John's wedding, and all I'm plugging in is your name, his name, and the wedding date, that's all. Everything else stays the same. I do not give you a proof for that. I used to sit there, send a proof to the customer and be like, hey, this is the proof. 2, 3, 4, 5 days later, they still haven't approved it. I'm worried about, is this gonna count against my shop? I haven't found that answer, but because it does show that I put a timer, right? When you do an order, it tells you like how many days you would take. These type of orders, I usually put 1 to 2 days. That way, I usually do it within the same day, but I do 1 to 2 just to give me a day extra in case I'm sick or something happens. But when Etsy sees that this should have been shipped or closed out 8 days ago and you still have it open, it affects your store. And so now I have it in my shop policy, and I also have it in the listing description that if the personalized item only requires to enter name and date, these will be sent to your Etsy email address within 1 to 2 business days. I have it set up that way. That way I could just close. If I get 5 orders today and they're all like just put in the name, maybe put in the wedding day or the bridal shower and the name of the bride, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just gonna do the order, close it out, and send you the email and call it a day. That way you are more productive, more efficient. You close out the orders and you don't have like 15. I remember one time I had like 15 or 16 orders open, and like 8 of them was for me waiting from people. People will buy from you and they forget, or they buy insta downloads and then they never download it, and then like weeks later they're like, I never got this. I'm like, well, it's an instant download and you could have downloaded it the same day you purchased it. All you have to do is go here and here to download it. It's just the weirdest thing. But close out orders if you can. Do not wait for them to like. Now, if it's a personalized item that they requested, then send proofs, because then they're going to be upset because maybe they want the font bigger, smaller, whatever. But if it's something that's already custom made and all you're doing is doing a small change, those I don't necessarily think. Unless the customer asks you for a proof, then do it. But if they don't, just send it out because you already have it in your policy, so you're fine. Tip number 17, graphic design. I was never a graphic designer. I didn't know how to use Photoshop. I started using Canva first is because it's very easy to use as a beginner. And I wanted to teach myself how to use Photoshop. Um, once you use Photoshop and you learn how to use it the proper way, it's just incredible. I can't like describe it to you until you use it. It's almost like you won't know until you actually experience Photoshop. To be honest with you, I recommend anyone that has a handmade business or a small business to learn how to do graphic design. When you are selling online and you have social media and you have like Instagram or Pinterest, or if you have your actual store, your product photography, the presentation of your product sometimes is more important than your product itself. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a good product. I'm just saying that how it looks is very, very important for someone to like feel like, oh, I want to get that. So having some knowledge of graphic design or trying to learn it is very, very important. And the sooner you learn it, the better it is. Don't say, oh, I don't want to learn that. That's a learning curve. Oh, now I got to learn something new. Get that attitude away. Like don't think that way. Think about, wow, I can't wait until I learn this to master how my design or when I post on social media, how it's going to look. And the more you use graphic design tools like Canva, PicMonkey, or if you use like Photoshop, the more you do that, the better your creative eye becomes. I remember, my photos from my first shop, how horrible they looked. So now they look so much better. And I know next year I'm going to look at my photos from this year and say, whoa, what was I thinking? I could improve. So the more you use it, the more you improve. So therefore, it is a benefit. Make sure that you learn how to use any type of graphic design tool. Number 18 kind of goes in hand with 17, master visually branding. What I mean by that is almost what I was saying. When you are selling on an e-commerce platform, the customer, all they go by is the photo. They can't touch the item, they can't wear it, they can't feel the texture. All they see is the photo. So if you're selling earrings, but there's like, millions of other stores selling earrings too, what makes your product better than everyone else's? Why should that person buy from your shop? So therefore, learning how to brand your products the correct way, how to style a product, how to have amazing photos will really, really make you a lot of money. I remember my first photos were horrible. And once I got the hang of Photoshop and I started using mock-ups from Creative Market and I started personalizing my products with the mock-ups and showing my artwork in the wall and showing my artwork, in different scenarios, so the customer could visually see, oh, I love that sign. I like how it looks with the flower in the background. I like how it looks with that frame. Doing stuff like that, I remember my sales like triple only because of the photo. It was the same product, it was the same quality. It was just that the other photo was crappy and the new photo was like an improvement. So, the presentation of your product, I honestly think is more important than the pricing, shipping, anything else you have in your store, because the presentation of the product is really what's going to make the person buy or not buy. Like, think about it this way. Have you ever bought a product because the presentation was so good that you bought it, and then when you received it you were like, oh, this wasn't that great, but the branding was so nice that it kind of convinced you to buy it. And I'm not saying that your product is not going to be great. I'm just saying that you kind of have to look at it that way, that the presentation is more important. The way that you brand that product and you show it visually on social media, you show it visually on your Etsy channel, on your YouTube, wherever you do it at, is very, very crucial to whether the person is going to buy from you or not buy from you. So understanding, mastering how it visually looks is very, very important. So just studying other shops, studying successful shops, and then practice makes better. Practice, practice, practice. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. Tip number 19. What is a digital product? What is an instant download? These are questions that I get asked all the time. And the reason why I wanted to write this down is because um, even though we are in an era that digital products are growing and is very popular, there's a lot of people out there that really don't understand digital products. So if you are going to sell digital products on Etsy, it's important that one, you have patience, and two, that you start realizing there's going to be a lot of people emailing you asking you, what is a digital product? What is an instant download? What do you mean? I don't get a physical product? I don't get something through mail? You're going to get a lot of those. You're going to get people that ask you about a specific product, and you say, well, it's a digital download or it's an instant download, so you get it right away, and they still don't understand it. So just making sure that you know how to possibly, right, tell the customer what a digital product is, the benefits of getting it. I always tell people, the best the reason why you might want to get a digital product with me is because there's no shipping fees. You get it right away. You could take it, tomorrow to Kinko's and get it printed. You don't have to worry about waiting or for it to get lost or for it to come damaged. You kind of have to convince them that way. When you say it that way, a lot of people are like, oh, I kind of like that. And they end up buying from you. But just being able to communicate that with the customer. Number 20. This kind of goes with the other one. What's Google Drive? What is Google Dropbox? What is a zip file? So when you start sending these large posters of files that maybe you couldn't upload on Etsy, or maybe it was a custom order, so you have to manually send them the link or the email. You're gonna have to decide what you want to do. You could do email, which is a free alternative. However, when you use the email, if the file is larger than 25 megabytes, it sends it to Google Drive. And when they send it to Google Drive, the customer will get the attachments. They have to click on Access File, and then you get a notification in your email saying, this person, would you like to share this with this person? And you have to say yes, and then they get the file. So it's a whole process. Understanding that. When I first was emailing people, I didn't understand Google Drive. When they were like, oh, it's asking me for permission, I just didn't understand what they were saying. I'm like, what do you mean it's asking you for permission? I send you an email. Just open the email. No, well, they can't open the email if the email is too large because Google sends it through Google Drive automatically. It's not nothing that you control or that I control. It's just how the system works. So understanding what Google Drive is, how it works, and how to get it resolved for the customer. Google Dropbox is a service that you pay $10 a month, and you could upload files and send the customer the link to download the file. I think the first 2 gigabytes is free. After that, it's $10 a month to use. I use Google Drive for files that never change. So if I have a large, I sell banners. Banners are huge and they take a lot of my memory. So those type of banners that are not custom made, that they just have, that they're pre-made, they just instant download. What I do is when somebody buys a banner, I send them the Google Dropbox link. They could go there, click on the link, and download the file. So I use it for that. You could use it for regular files. You could use it to send emails to send files to customers. But just keep in mind, a lot of people don't know what Google Dropbox is. They don't understand it. You tell them, go here, download it here, click here, and they still can't do it. So just you having a really good understanding on how to download files. That way, if you get a customer that can't download it, you could explain it to them. And that's going to save you a lot of time, because if you're sitting there, you're like, well, I don't know. And they're like, I don't know. They're going to be like, they're going to get upset. They're going to give you a bad review. They're going to want a refund. They're going to open a case against you now. All this nonsense. So to avoid that, just understand whatever program you end up using, whether it's an email, whether it's Google Drive, whether it's Google Dropbox, whether it's sending them an email as a zip file, understand customers don't understand this. Zip file is another one. I send customers file, or even as an instant download. Maybe I have 5 files. I put them in one folder. People don't know how to open zip files, so I created actually a article in my blog, and I send them the link. I'm like, here's the link. You could go there, and it gives you instructions step by step. You could do a sheet PDF form, just giving them steps on how to do it. That's probably the best thing you should do as well. I have one of those as well that I attach to the order. That way, if they need further instructions, they know how to do it. You could also add these instructions to the thank you buyer section of Etsy, that they send a thank you message to every digital order, and you could put instructions there. That's what I normally do as well. And I will put, if you buy an instant download, this is how you download. If you buy a file that you have to download through Google Drive, this is the steps. And I put it there because the easier for them, the easier for me as well. So just understanding that when you sell digital products, you're going to have people question you. What is a zip file? How do I open it? I can't figure this out. What is Google Dropbox? And why is it asking? And what is Google Drive? And why do I have to ask for permission, etc., etc. Tip number 21 is that Etsy limits a limit of 20 megabyte attachments. So whenever you are talking to a customer through the conversation, if you're going to send a customer a file, it has to be under 20 megabytes. If the file is larger than 20, it's not going to let you upload it through Etsy. So just keep that in mind. The file has to be 20 megabytes or less. Tip number 22 is keep track of progress. I wish I would have done this from 2009 and now, and I wish I would have done this also with my Etsy store. So when you first start your Etsy shop, I recommend taking photos of your shop, taking photos of your products, maybe taking photos of your office. And as you grow and you start making more money, maybe your office gets better, maybe your products get better now because now your creative eye is getting better. Maybe now you change how your banner looks from the old one to the new one. Maybe your whole social media marketing and branding change. This is really important to keep track of it, because you never know, you might blow up and somebody might want to do an interview, and this will be a great way to showcase somebody and inspire other people and say, hey, this is how my Etsy shop used to look like, and after I did these tweaks and changed it and learned more, this is how it looks now. And it's just a great way to inspire other people, maybe showcase how you started, your humble beginnings, etc. But it's something that I have learned now to start doing, but back in the day I never did, and I kind of regret it because now I wish I could show people, don't get discouraged. Look at my listings, or look at how ugly my Etsy photos were compared to now. And I think that would give a lot of people inspiration, because then when they see it, they're like, oh wow, like I don't feel too bad. Mine look better than hers. So you know what I mean? Like it just gives inspiration. So keep track of progress. Why not? You never know. You never know. Number 23, always learning. A lot of people, including myself in the beginning, I would hear a lot of people say, oh, X is always changing, X this, X that. And it's just how the internet works. I'll as XC progresses and gets better and adds new features and changes their website to make it more efficient for sellers and buyers, the algorithm changes as well. And it changes because it wants to find relevant items to people. It wants to really narrow down their search. That way, when people are searching for earrings, shoes don't pop up, or other stuff that they're really not looking for, because then they will leave the site. So therefore they have to refine the process, and therefore by refining the process, then we have to learn the new systems and how to get found in the search results. But if you always keep in mind that you're always going to be learning something new, there's always going to be something new that Etsy has, or maybe Instagram, or maybe a new ad that you could do, maybe a new feature that Facebook has. Just keep in mind that you're always going to be learning. And if you're okay with that and you're open to learning and change, you will see great things. If you say, no, I don't want to change, I don't want to learn nothing new, then you'll get stuck. And that's just the honest truth. That's just in anything in life. Things change. So always learning is important. Number 24 is a big one. You have to spend money to make money. A lot of people refuse to spend on ads. Now, if you don't have the money, I understand. If this is like, you stay at home and you starting a business and you don't have an income, that's way different. But if you have an income and this is your side hustle, spend money. Even if it's just $50 starting a month, or $100 a month. I'm sure we spend more money on that, on fast food and eating outside. Just make a budget for your advertising. When I started spending money after, I think it was like on my fourth month on Etsy, that's when I triple my income. I couldn't believe it. I think I had spent like 600 and I made like 30. I can't remember. I knew it was over 3,000. I was like, oh my God, I should have done this months ago. And that was the thing for me. It was the promoted listings. And ever since, I never stopped. Now I run promoted listings on all my stores. I've never paused it. I hear people say, well, I had the listing, I promoted it for a week, I stopped it. I promoted it for 2 more days, I stopped. I'm like, why? Like that never makes sense to me. I leave my promoted listing for the whole month. I don't touch it actually. I just let it roll to the next month. But to be honest, is ever since I did my promoted listing, that's when I really saw my income double. So I recommend, whether it's promoted listing, whether you're buying graphic design, whether you're paying for someone to take your photos, whether you're paying for someone to create a banner for you, whether you're paying for someone to do your SEO, you have to spend money to make money. And you could write it off in your taxes. And tip number 25, this is the last one, guys, so I apologize that this video is a little long. Check your key performance indicators. And what I mean by that, it's important, and this is another mistake I made, it's important to check your listings every 30 to 90 days. If you can't do it every month, do it every quarterly. And key performance indicators is, what are your top sellers? What are your bottom sellers? Checking your analytics, checking your demographics, understanding who is your target audience is very, very important. The more information you know about your store, the more successful you will be, and the more you will be able to grow your business to a 6-figure or more business. But if you don't know this information on top of your head and somebody asks you, what is your top seller, and you really don't know, then you that means that you're not taking your business serious, So making sure that you go into your analytics, making sure that you go into your Etsy stats or Google Analytics and looking at, when is the busiest time at your store. That way you could upload listings when you are the busiest. What are your top contenders? Maybe you could create additional items for those top contenders that are matching items or similar items. What are your bottom listings? Maybe you need to fix the photos. Maybe you need to just change the tags. Keep in mind that a lot of stores, the first year, they do really, really, really well. The second year, they do less sales, right? And they're like, well, I don't understand. It's because a year ago, maybe you were ranking for those tags, but a year later, 100,000 more stores open, similar like yours. So now your listings are drowning in the search results. Before you were in the first page because barely no one was using those tags. A year later, a lot of people are using the tags. So now you have to find new ones. So keeping that in, making sure that you're keeping track of your key performing indicators is really going to help you understand how Etsy works, how SEO work, how analytics work, how your store works, what are your top sales, what are the bottom sales. It's going to give you more information than you ever thought, and information that you're like, wow, if I never did this, I would never understand this. So it's very, very important. I think is another one that is one of the biggest mistakes that I did in the beginning by not checking. I was just building, like I was just adding stuff, and then adding, and then I kind of lost track of what's working, what's not working. I was just adding everything and anything, and I thought the more I add, the better, and it's not true. What I realized that you could have a store that has 4,000 products and not even sell 90, like not even sell half of those products, because it has happened to me. So understanding that you want a lot of products, but then you also want products that are going to sell. You don't want to just throw a whole bunch of products in there and then not make any money from them either. So just understanding your key performance indicators is very important. Try to do it, like I said, monthly, but if you can't, at least every quarter. So guys, these are my 25 tips that I wish I knew before starting Etsy that I kind of made mistakes on. Guys, if you have any tips of digital products or anything that you've done incorrectly that you want to share with people to save them time, energy, efficiency, etc., leave them below. I'm trying to create a sense of community. We all come together, we help each other out. So leave them below. Don't forget to like this video if it was value to you. Comment, share it with someone else so they can learn. And also, don't forget to subscribe. I will leave a link in the comment section to my Instagram account, so make sure that you follow me there and say hello, and I will follow you back. Thank you guys for watching.